Hello, everyone. Welcome to Weekend Rental, episode 126. We are your gaming and geek culture podcast. As always, my name is Ryan, and I'm joined by Andy.
Hey, I'm here.
All right, if you enjoy our content, head on over to geekade.com where you're going to find podcasts on video games, movies, music, comics, and so much more. Geekade.com, what's your geek? All right. I don't even know where to start with this one. It's been a light. I think we've all been not gaming so much, right?
Yeah, not too much.
Have you played anything?
No, the only thing on my list is something that my son has been playing. So I can get into that if you want to.
I've been shoulder watching my son play some of that too. Why don't you kick it off?
Sure. So yeah, Bugsnax. Notorious.
Bugsnax, the PlayStation 5 exclusive?
Yeah, the notorious PlayStation 5 exclusive.
That just dropped on everything else.
Now for free on Game Pass.
Yeah, it was weird, huh?
Yeah. Which I think is like an updated or has expansion or something like that now too. I don't know. But yeah, my son picked that up. I started a little bit and I'm like, I think he would like this more than I would. So I've been letting him play and kind of watch. And he's having a pretty good time with it overall. Thinks it's really silly. Which it is.
Which, I mean, a game called Bugsnax, you'd expect that, I guess.
Yeah. I'm kind of scared that he finds it endlessly fun to just like turn every single body part of some of these people into the most horrifying combination of, I don't even know, shish kebabs and like hot dog arms and raspberry seed or strawberry seed skin. And
yeah. That was the one thing with that game that I didn't really delve too much into what it was actually like. Like I didn't realize it was going to be so like crafting and kind of like world building heavy until I was watching my son play some of that. And at least there's some depth there, I guess. But yeah, it's a weird ass concept.
Yeah.
Art style's great though.
Yeah.
For that type of game.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot more story in it than I was expecting. That's for sure. And, like conversation aspects to it, even like an interview section where you have to learn information that way. But overall, it seems like it's like kind of the point of the game is just to get everybody back to the town, like get the gang together type thing. At least so far, I'm guessing it probably turns into something else toward the end, but.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like, it looks like the perfect thing for that age kid. But I don't know if I'd need to spend more than like a couple hours with it to really get into it.
So
I feel. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying that my son's has a little bit of trouble combining all the tools together sometimes, and I think that's a little bit tricky because it demands like a weapon wheel style of picking the tool and then.
Oh, sure.
Doing a action with that tool and then also doing the same thing with another tool at the same time and like doing it within a time period. And sometimes you have to press X, sometimes it's the left bumper and trying to remember all that in, a window of 5 seconds that you have to catch something. He's been having trouble, having that muscle memory, I think, so far, but.
Well, and for that type of game too, it's like, why overcomplicate it? Like, doesn't need to be there.
You're right.
So streamline it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's a couple of those that you need like 3 tools or something all in a matter of seconds just to combine 2 different Bugsnax to attack each other and do some other thing. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how far my son got in it, at least a couple hours, but I think he kind of fell off because he was getting into that real heavy, and he's been playing on his Chromebook through xCloud. But ever since that crash a couple weeks ago, stuff hasn't kind of been running right with xCloud. Like even on my Series X,
really,
like playing indie games and stuff, just it's so stuttery and like jarring, and the refresh thing is constant. I played like a simple indie game and it was unplayable the other day. I had to just shut it down. So kind of kept him from going back in there and picking back up.
Yeah, I guess I haven't tried it lately, but yeah, that's interesting to know.
Yeah, it was one of those like, of course, things where it's down on like a Friday through part of Saturday. So it's like when everybody wants to be using it. And then I don't know if it's just something with like the Xbox console update that kind of just really screwed with the streaming or what it is. But like even my Xbox Series X has been weird. And my boss said his is kind of the same thing. Like it kicks me back to the dashboard, like when I launch games, and it's just not, I don't know. Like, I don't know if there was an update or if it's just their back end that's like a little bit off, because it's not the sleek experience you'd expect from your $500 console.
Yep.
Not that the interface is ever spectacular, but it at least ran really well.
Yeah.
Until now. So
yeah.
I don't know. He did a weird thing where so maybe there was an update, or maybe it was the fact that the system was down, but it had logged me out of my profile. And then when I logged back in, it asked me 3 consecutive times to confirm that my phone number was correct in the contact info.
Wow.
Like verification info. And I was like, I just answered this. And then, it went right from that to like every game I launched, it would just like crap the bed and go right back to the home screen. So,
yeah, I missed all of that from must have been away, but yeah.
It's not good. It's not good. I haven't played much of anything. I will probably give the final. I'm sure everyone's just thrilled to hear the ARC update again who listens. But I was going to give the final update where I had finally managed to get back to my Xbox after being gone on the trip, dealing with getting my basement back in order. And I loaded that game in. I went to our base. It was a sad state of affairs. You were crumpled. You had passed out on your knees and fallen backwards on the floor. You're the only body left in our building.
Oh.
So then I opened the door and there was some stranger standing there in front of my face.
Really?
And then I looked, and the degradation factor from being AFK is real on that game. Our walls are gone. There's like every fourth panel's up. Basically, all we had left was our chests, the one-room hut, and your windmill, and that was pretty much it.
Wow.
Everything was dead. My cryopod dead. I didn't have pants on for some reason. I don't know what you did with me. I'm blaming you. And then like all of our stuff had spoiled, obviously, and I just like immediately went out of the sails. So I was like, nah, I'm gonna make the best of this. I'm gonna have a little fun. And I was like, nah, I can't do it. So I ran around and saw who had built up around us a little bit. Obviously not having the flying monkey, my flying mount, or my T-Rex kind of made that difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, if you're away from that game for like a week, it just
gone.
Cannibalizes everything. It was so depressing.
So all the dinosaurs were dead?
Everything we have is dead. Everything's gone.
Wow.
Not a soul left alive. So I bet if we logged in today, it's probably even worse. It's probably just us on the ground. So,
man, that is that game. I'm willing to try number 2, but they need to smooth it out a bit.
I really want to try Genesis, but I think what we should do is not do a hosted server or not do a dedicated server and just do a hosted on somebody's profile. And we just make a time to meet, and then we'll just we'll turn off like all the stuff. We'll up the tranks time. We'll up the level thing.
Yeah.
Because I kind of want to get in there and just like enjoy it without having to worry about everything just crapping around us. Because Genesis is pretty cool because like you get to go on missions and there's like space, and I don't know. Maybe we try that.
Yeah.
Maybe we try it. But
I heard somebody talking about a game that was like Diablo crossed with vampires and Valheim, which that one sounded really interesting.
Yeah. Is that the one on PC right now?
Yeah.
PC Game Pass? Yeah. I've heard nothing but good stuff about that too. I think the Fire Escape podcast was talking about that.
Yeah.
So vampire something. Yeah, I know it's supposed to be pretty decent. I'd have to check that out. Yeah, other than that, like I said, since the xCloud was not working that well for me, instead of trying anything new, I had downloaded that Shredders game when that came out, which is a snowboarding game, not a game full of the Shredders enemies from. It's not just a bunch of Shredders from TMNT. So I think it was kind of an indie game that nobody really saw coming, but I booted it up, and I don't know if it's like some of the same dev team or just like heavy influence, but it feels a lot like Amped. Kind of like the over the top, but not as nearly as obnoxious or putrid as what's Riders Republic. But there's still a lot of that hey dude stuff. I basically skipped every cutscene because I was just like, I got no time for this. After Riders Republic, my like brah meters kind of busted. So but I've been playing it, and it's pretty on par with how Amped worked. Well, in a lot of those games, but Amped in particular, it feels the most like with like how you charge your spins and like the way it locks onto rails. I mean, it's not unlike Riders Republic or Steep, but it feels more Amped in nature. Good game though, like not overly challenging. Visuals are decent. I want to get to the point though where I'm doing more open mountain stuff, because so far it's just all been mission to mission. Which the missions are fine, but they're not overly long or overly complicated, so you kind of just feel like you're getting bits and pieces of stuff. And maybe I've been spoiled by things like Steep and Riders Republic, where I can just go to the top of the mountain and do whatever I want.
Just go wherever you want. Yeah. That was probably the last game I actually played on xCloud, is that one. And it ran pretty good, but the only thing was, it's like you said, it's, more on the kind of realistic side. Like it's not like a SS, like straight up all-in out of a, straight up jump,
Yeah, when it's like telling you what specific grab you need to get, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I thought it was fine. I mean, it's a perfect game for Game Pass, because I would never buy that, and I don't know that it's like a $40, maybe it's a $40 game, but I wouldn't have played it otherwise, and I thought it was pretty enjoyable. Yeah, it actually just kind of made me want to go play Riders Republic again.
It seems bigger than your normal indie game, though, for sure. For graphically sure. And everything.
Well, and I love the way they did the smart use of like cutscene. It's like everybody's face is covered, right? Like everybody's got scarves and like so they can voice them with anybody. It doesn't matter. They don't have to animate movements. It's just like a nodding head. It's like, it's intelligent. You saved yourself a bunch of work in animation. So, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter anyway. It's you're there to play the game. So, yeah. So that's been it. Yeah, that's the extent of since the last podcast. Anything I've done gaming. Well, we got a ping pong table.
I saw you got a quote tweet.
I did. Yes. So I was all excited about that. So we were at Walmart, hit the clearance aisle, tons of good clearance deals, but we got a $29 super clearanced out ping pong table. Then I mentioned on Twitter, I was like, I bet Chippy D would approve of this purchase. And then he like quote tweeted and gave me the Captain Jack. I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then I think Nate had commented on something later, and he was like, what, you give up on the Oculus already? And then he'd replied all. So Chippy was in there, and I was like, yeah, I was like, well, I'm going to use the Oculus to practice, and I'll crush kids in the real table. And then Chippy was like, I don't think it's a regulation table. But yeah, I was pretty proud of myself for getting a reply from him. So
yeah,
he's bringing table tennis back one gamer at a time, but that's been actually really fun. So what I will say is, like, to get I assume Walmart is like, no, if we're going to carry a ping pong table, it needs to fit in this size space. So they basically broke the table down into like something that would fit into 4 pieces into a box. So if you do the math on like what I paid for the amount of plywood I got, I came up ahead by like $50. But holy shit, $29 a torture. Like, so many screws. And then it's got like 4 legs that you have to pop in like office chair roller wheels on. First one I pop it in, it just shears the plastic in half.
Oh, geez.
Like, well, this is fantastic. But yeah, it's a good $29 investment. It folds up nice. We keep it in between the cars in the garage. Actually been playing it like pretty much every night. Go through with the kids and play a little and try it. My daughter's getting pretty good. My son gets a little frustrated because I try to like coach him more to like pay attention, but he just kind of wants to, he can't get over like the spastic, just like slap your wrist. And I'm like, no, like you break the volley every time. Like it's a gentle thing. And
Yeah.
so he gets frustrated, but yeah, we've been playing a lot. It's fun. Forgot how good table tennis is.
Yep.
Yeah.
You just need a foosball table, and then you'll have pretty much your
and
whole
I do have a foosball table. Yeah, I've got my dad, when I was a kid, he had like the old like Douchemeister, like quality, like really good tables. And he gave it to me when we moved into this house. But I ran out of room as we had kids, but I still have it. It's actually in my shed. I just don't actually have enough room to have that set up full time anywhere. So it's there. I like foosball a lot, but I'm pretty good at it. So I can't imagine my kids would have fun playing it. Plus, you know, inevitably someone's going to push that pole and hit me in the junk and I'm going to get real pissed. So I'm just going to avoid that whole argument. Yeah. On the other note though, like I did pick up I don't know why, but like we were just talking about playing catch or something. And my son kind of fell off a T-ball after one season. And I was like, well, I'll buy a new glove, whatever. Cause I'm left-handed. So it's not like you just find an old glove cheap somewhere too often. So we've been playing catch and like, it was the old inevitable thing. Like 3 throws in, he took one right to the dinger, just completely missed it. And he's wearing, you know, those mesh pants, like zero protection. So, but he took it like a champ. He got up and then, you know, 2 throws later, had one bounce out of his glove and crack him on the skull. So he's learning.
Yep. Keep the eye on the ball.
Yep. I'm like, you got to use your safety hand. I was like trying to explain to him like how to field a grounder. I'm like, here's how you do it. Here's the safety hand. Like, cause that's going to jump up and hit you in the balls real hard and you're going to regret it. So yeah. So yeah, I've been doing more, actual real life sports game. Well, as much as table tennis is a sport than I have actual gaming, but
yeah.
Yeah. That's how it goes though. Summertime, right?
Yeah. The end of hibernation at this point.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe I got down to freezing last week. Still,
that's true.
Like I was asking my boss, I'm like, it's had to have snowed in June here, right? He's like, oh, I'm sure. And then we found out like the only months they say it hasn't been on record is August and September. But I call bullshit. Like I bet you it snowed in September for sure.
Yeah, that sounds.
No, it wasn't September. It was July and August, and we were questioning August even because I'm like, nah. Like some of those, sometimes the end of August is like frigid. Like I don't believe it.
Yeah.
So
I could see July. July definitely, probably not. But
probably not. Yeah, but every other month, totally. This global warming shit. Where's the warming? Come on.
Yeah.
It's still 50 here. It's June.
And then when it's
almost
really warm, it's raining because it's too hot.
Yes, and I don't need any more damn rain.
No.
The basement's finally dry. Finally.
Oh.
My game room's still a mess, but what are you gonna do? Well, you and I both saw a movie. I was gonna put it down on the list, but you beat me to it. Chip and Dale. Or is it even Chip and Dale, or is it just Rescue Rangers that went to straight to Disney?
I think it's just Rescue Rangers, maybe.
So it's a weird VH1 behind the music or movie sort of style film about animated characters that take place in the real world, Roger Rabbit style for some reason.
Just ignore that Chip and Dale have been a thing by themselves ever since.
Yeah.
Before Rescue Rangers and after, but
yeah, that's true. They would before they had clothes. Yes. Yeah, it was a very strange take. It was also weird that Disney put that much effort into it and didn't put it in theaters because it's not like they've got a lot going on. Animation. I mean, I guess maybe theater numbers aren't that important anymore, but I don't know. What was your kind of takeaway on that whole thing?
I enjoyed it quite a bit while watching it because of, I mean, it is a really weird take. It is definitely something that's different. I mean, Roger Rabbit is probably its closest comparison, but yeah, they stuff a lot more into this than, you know, Roger Rabbit has some of that on the fringes, but they're still trying to tell the story of, you know, an actual like noir case. And this is just like, got to have a plot. We can't just put random stuff on the screen all the time. So they put some sort of plot in there, but days later, it's like, well, that's pretty much what that movie was. It was just references specifically for my age. I mean, I guess
100%.
there was some stuff in there that the kids were surprised that were in there. There's like Disney Junior stuff in there too, but I don't know. It's better than most of the Disney original stuff that they've put out. So
yes,
I think it, like you said, it probably could have been a theatrical release, but I don't know. They probably just didn't have faith in people even remembering what the Rescue Rangers were.
Yeah, I think so. I always thought it was. To me, the whole thing that threw it off was like Dale was the breakout character. Like he was like, oh, he was the star in the whole scenario. That's the reason they unraveled. And it's like, no, Dale was the moron. Like if anybody was gonna, yeah, sure, but if anyone was gonna break out and be the big hit, like Dale wasn't it for me. I guess Dale's the one that you'd find like drinking himself to death with like the rest of Motley Crue. I feel like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he kind of didn't though either, right? Like he got the one.
Yeah, that's true. He did.
And then after that, he was just kind of the guy living his same, pretending to be the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I think I had an okay time watching it, but I was never like laughing out loud at it. I think the whole plot being so like bonkers just kind of took it to a different place for me, to where there was some nostalgia, but also a lot of like, why is this happening? And then the whole thing that really made it, and I'm not probably spoiling it for anyone in this audience at this point, but just like the fact that creepy Sonic from the original like screening of Sonic the Hedgehog movie was in that, and the main character. They call him Ugly Sonic, I think, right? That's his thing. I just thought that was pretty amazing, because I'm guessing they had to get a lot of people to sign off on that to make that okay.
Yeah.
And it was pretty funny. Although, like my wife pointed out, like, because we just watched Sonic the Hedgehog 2 also. And she's like, but that Sonic has teeth. I'm like, yeah, but I think it's the Uncanny Valley thing where like Ugly Sonic appeared to have human dentures, where the new design is more like animated and fits his face better. But yeah. I
was surprised. I mean, it's just not just a one-off joke. He's
a main character.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So Sonic, do they count the grossing like clicks and views and like Disney subscriptions towards the Sonic 2 total net gross then? Does Ugly Sonic contribute?
Yeah, I don't know. It's
been a big year for Sonic. That's for damn sure. The biggest year ever.
I wonder in like 10 years if you watch this movie, like if you would barely even remember.
Oh, I'm sure.
That being a thing. Yeah.
Well, and then in another 10 years, like, we'll give it 20 years and most people won't remember who half the characters and cameos were.
Yeah.
It's just, like you said, it's just a cameo scavenger hunt. And I think a lot of those were a stretch for our kids, probably. Beyond Chip and Dale, who my kids only know who they are because I bought the box set and made them watch it. So it's like, this is the greatest show ever. And you rewatch it and you're like, yeah, this wasn't probably as good as I remembered it being. Yeah.
They do go, I mean, it's definitely for our age more than anything else. I mean,
for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's all very adult themed. Not adult, but like it's PG-13 pretty much throughout.
Yeah. I'm just surprised that they, they kind of honed in on the Disney afternoon stuff too. You know, there's a lot of those guys in there. I guess other than Goof Troop, those guys didn't show up, but
how do you think Gadget and what's his name get it on? Because it seems like that'd be a hot dog in a hallway situation, right? What was the fly's name again? I forget.
Zipper, right?
Zippy, maybe Zipper. Yeah,
I'm like,
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that was kind of strange. A lot of people were upset that they didn't think they were going to be in there. And I'm like, of course they're going to be in there. At some point.
The whole cast has to be in there for sure. Yeah, they brought everyone back. even some of the villains and stuff. So that was cool.
I think the voice sounds the exact same.
Yeah, I thought
it
so
seems
too.
like the same voice, maybe. I don't know.
If not, it was somebody who really nailed it.
Yeah.
But her voice was in a lot of the Disney Afternoon stuff as well. So,
yep.
Yeah, weird choice.
Should we talk about like the surprising thing is like how much of it isn't Disney either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
Ugly
like,
Sonic, as we mentioned, for sure, but that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Right. I mean, it gets into a lot of the DreamWorks stuff, and I mean, even like adult stuff like South Park and Beavis and Butthead. And it's unreal how much they got for that. I mean, they have to be making deals for each one of those, I would think.
Yeah, the amount of money they probably spent on just licensing alone has to be astronomical.
Yeah, and especially the way like they treated it, like so like Shrek is just the only visual of Shrek is getting burned, like to a crisp.
As you should.
So like in the original Roger Rabbit, the legend goes that like the Looney Tunes, Bugs and Daffy are in there, and the deal was that they had to split the same amount of screen time and same like space on the screen as like Mickey Mouse and Daffy Duck.
Sure.
And that's why,
you get like 2 seconds of each of them.
Yeah, there's Bugs and there's Mickey on the same frame, and there's, the dueling pianos or whatever. And Warner Brothers, they said, yeah, you can use Looney Tunes if, for this movie, but we'll probably call you back for some sort of favor, And years later, I don't remember what the project was, but they called Disney back and they're like, hey, can we use Mickey or something for something? They're like, no, you can't use Mickey. So I was a little surprised that the only mention of Looney Tunes that I saw, at least I saw, was a frozen dinner of Foghorn Leghorn in the freezer. So it's like, boy, they just went after him again on that one.
It seems like he'd be really dry.
Yeah.
Foghorn Leghorn. Yeah, it was quite the, I mean, that was maybe the overall takeaway was like, it was just fun to see how much stupid shit they threw in there and like threw at the wall and like how many properties they touched. And yeah.
I mean, it gets people excited in the moment. I mean, my kids saw Doc McStuffins and lost their shit about it. So
Doc McStuffins has no place anywhere, let alone the Rescue Rangers movie. Doc McStuffins is an abomination. I hate that cartoon so much.
The logic in the cartoon. This is a side tangent on Doc McStuffins that we're going on this video game podcast, but in the first few seasons, it's all made up stuff. She's just fixing her stuffed animals in an imagination or whatever.
Right.
And then in the later seasons, she's in a real hospital. She's a doctor in this hospital.
She's gotten her degree. She can now do x-rays and yeah. I luckily didn't have to watch I didn't ever get out of the Playhouse era. So.
Okay.
You're
lucky.
That was gonna be my one last point in this movie was like, you know how like Disney movies used to kind of have like a lesson and like a moral, like a real feel good takeaway.
How long ago was that?
Yeah, but like this movie did not have any of that at all. Like my kids weren't walking away with any like gratifying, like I grew as a person because of the outcome of this movie thing. So
right. Well, even though like villain is in really bad taste because I mean the story of the real kid that was Peter Pan, like he actually his voice changed and then they basically kicked him to the curb and then
really
and then he became like a terrible he just became a homeless guy and like died alone, overdose or something like that. So it's like once you know the story of that, it's like really bad taste of see how they treated Peter Pan in this. But
yikes. Yeah, that's way worse.
Yeah.
Shame on you, Disney. This will probably be one that I'll need to go back and rewatch one more time, maybe just kind of maybe not anytime soon, but the next year or so, just to kind of let it sink back in. But yeah, I got my second screening of Sonic 2 in though over the weekend as well because I have access to a Plex server and somebody had that on there. Although it's on Paramount this week now, so I guess you could stream it and watch it. But still good. Second time, still like it. Still agree with everybody's comments on like, boy, just adding a little bit of music and a couple original sound effects would have made that a lot better. But it's still good, so I'm not gonna complain. And Jim Carrey is amazing in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that movie is definitely the best video game movie.
Yeah, I saw it it's third place now. It's just got to overtake Uncharted and World of Warcraft globally. But yeah, it's like 345 million, I think.
Wow.
So you consider, when you consider like box office aren't fully open around the world, like for most of that run, that's pretty astonishing. And then I'd imagine it's going to at least overtake Uncharted because the amount it'll make on demand and then DVD sales. Because that all counts towards it, right? Like the gross, I think, or maybe not the box office. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works.
The streams will for sure. I think it'll take over Uncharted, but
yeah,
which that's also been on the Plex server, but I haven't been able to bring myself to watch that yet. So I don't think I can do it.
Yeah. So, we've been also watching another thing in this house where my son got a figure, like a Build-A-Figure thing of Vegeta. So he was building that. He had no idea what that's from.
Oh, no.
He took it to school, and then people were telling him what it was, and I'm like, oh, yeah, it's Dragon Ball or whatever. So then I found my old DVD, started watching that with the kids now. And
did you start with the Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z?
Dragon Ball Z. If I remember right, Dragon Ball is a little bit.
I like Dragon Ball though.
No, it's good, but it's a little bit more adult, right? Like there was a lot more like.
Yeah, I mean, there's maybe like some more lewd references. Yeah.
Roshi was definitely more of a pervert.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's true. But I like it. It's a good lead up into Dragon Ball Z because it's not a soap opera yet, right? Like it's still a kids kind of show.
Yep. Yeah. And then, so Dragon Ball Z starts out with a bang and then it dies.
It hits the loop.
Oh my gosh.
It just recycles. It becomes like a loop every season, right?
We're not even through the first season and it's like, it's Goku running on this snake bridge thing for like, I think it's like 15 episodes now. And they just randomly show like, oh, here he is. He's running some more. Oh yeah. Remember what Goku's doing? He's running and nothing.
So you guys haven't even hit Vegeta yet. You haven't hit like any of that.
No,
Majin Buu or whatever.
No, it's the first Saiyan comes and then they beat him. And then they're like, oh, Vegeta and this other guy is coming in a year. So
yeah, he's got to get over 9,000.
Yep. So it's all of that. And there's a lot of episodes that nothing happens in. And I think that gets worse as that show goes on.
100%. And there's a lot of those fights that nothing happens. Because like eventually you've seen it all. Like, yeah. I mean, it is basically the template for pro wrestling. I mean, that's all it is. And maybe that's the Japanese take on it. Cause like it was happening alongside a lot of that. Cause we were what? Were we 10? We were about 10 years off in the United States, right? But by the time the series started coming over here, it had already been in existence for at least 10 years, I think.
Sure.
Overseas.
Okay. That makes sense because I was trying to figure out when it was because these are dated like 89 and I'm like, I know.
Yeah. No, they were not. Yeah. I want to say it was about a 10-year delay before translation. They got brought over. And a lot of that was through the Cartoon Network and Adult Swim stuff. And because I remember that was like, late at night they would play blocks of it. Now that's when I got hooked into it.
Yep.
It's just so stupid. I mean, it is just a soap opera. That's all it is.
Yep.
Nonsensical, but man, it's good. Are your kids getting into it?
They like it pretty good, but you could definitely tell if you watch like 2 in a row, then they're like, okay, that's enough for now.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of have a love-hate with that show. Like, I got really into it, but like, I don't know that I could go back to. I guess if it was on, I would watch it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to ingest more.
Yeah,
Dragon Ball.
Yeah, and I don't think I I probably only seen half of it overall. Like those later seasons, like Majin Buu and all those, I don't even know who those guys are or what they were doing.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of that stuff. If I did watch it, but
well, and there's like all the updated series following that. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, I've tried watching a little of the GT, and that's not good.
No, I never liked GT. Just didn't get into it. As far as it's funny, I guess old stuff too. If we're talking about old things from showing our kids, I was sitting down the other day and like scrolling through YouTube, and like YouTube's got, I don't know, for whatever reason, there's a lot of really good like classic comedies on YouTube that are just free to watch. So I've been kind of going through some of those, but I scrolled across and there was like Son-in-Law. I was like, man, I haven't seen Son-in-Law in at least like 20 years.
Is that the Pauly Shore one?
Yes. Okay. It's his big one. Like it's his, outside of Encino Man, like it's the main Pauly Shore vehicle, I would argue, because it's his like starring role, and that holds up. That's a pretty good movie.
Really? Okay. What was the plot of that again? I'm trying to remember.
So small town girl leaves to go to school in like LA, has a boyfriend at home or whatever. And then she can't hack it. Pauly Shore befriends, and he's like a weird hipster, the weasel character basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then she gets paranoid that the boyfriend's going to propose when she goes home for holiday break. So she devises the plan like, I'll bring Weasel along, or Crawl. They call it, his character's Crawl in that one. So I'll bring him back home to like my little podunk town, and, he'll deflect and whatever. And so then they pretend they're engaged. The other guy can't propose. And yeah, it's a whole big dumb thing. And then, the whole circle comes around, they fall in love. But I also forgot that like Tiffany Amber Thiessen's in there. Like,
really?
Post the, Saved by the Bell stuff when she was like really hot still back then. So yeah, it's nice. She strips and dances in that movie. So not strips so much, but
as much as they could in dances.
Yeah. But yeah, much better movie than I remember it being. And then when we finished that, it recommended, or the kid from The Sandlot was in it, right? I was like, well, we've watched The Sandlot. Like, let's watch The Big Green, because that guy's also in The Big Green. We found that on Disney Plus. That is an awful movie, way worse than you might remember. And I didn't have high expectations anyway. But boy, does that suck. So,
wonder where that kid is now. Probably
jail. I don't know. Yeah. I think I saw him on some podcasts recently, and I think there was like that big reunion, like Sandlot reunion a few years back.
Oh yeah.
I want to say like he's doing pretty well for himself. Like, if you compare him to like a Goldberg status, like he's doing pretty damn good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's tough
I'm surprised like how much of that free stuff, like Netflix is raising their prices and, cutting stuff. And it's like you log on to Tubi or something like that. And it's like, there's a lot of shit on here, Well,
even the Roku channel, because like, it's all I have is Roku TVs, and like tons of movies, tons of good comedies. Like sometimes they don't have the whole series run, but you'll get like 3 seasons at a time. It's like I could easily not pay for anything between YouTube and like the free stuff. I mean, you got Crackle, you could watch JoJo 2. That's amazing for free.
Yep.
Isn't that so? What is that Weird Al like biopic? That's like a Roku one, isn't it? Like that's gonna be straight free, I think.
Yeah, I think that's only Roku.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, starring Harry Potter, which is such a weird choice. But I watched that trailer and like he kind of nails it. Like he looks the part. I mean, he's way more ripped than I think Weird Al probably ever was, but I think they're also probably trying to do a little more like satire than straight life story, but
yeah, because his life story is basically like this guy's awesome and nobody does anything with him, which is depressing.
I was following that trailer because I watched the trailer on YouTube, so then it recommended in my recommended feed. It was like the VH1 Behind the Music of Weird Al, which I didn't know he had done, and it was like right after the Coolio like Amish Paradise days, and like they went through his like whole catalog and everything, and like you totally forget like how many platinum albums that dude has, like a shit ton, like pretty much everything he touched. Like he didn't hit with everyone, but like every other album, like he nailed it for the most part. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, some of those were bigger than the actual song themselves, it seems like.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. And then the best part, though, is they were interviewing. So they interviewed a few people who were in UHF, which was like his movie that just bombed, right? Because it like released on the same weekend as like Batman and Indiana Jones and like 7 movies that just crushed it. But the one guy's like, I'm so proud of my work on UHF. He's like, and people talk about the residuals. Well, let me show you. And he pulls up his check. And it's literally a check for the residual of UHF, and it's made out for 30 cents. It was so good. That'll be a cool one. I'll have to watch that. Daniel Radcliffe's a pretty damn good actor outside of Harry Potter. I mean, he was good in Harry Potter, but he's been good outside of it too. Yeah.
Well, when I was growing up, I had Weird Al CDs that were listened to, and you know, some of them would be like the polka ones or whatever. And my dad is a huge polka fan because he's part of that age group. And, you know, he would ask, hey, who's this? You know, because I'm listening to a polka thing. Well, it's funny. And I said, well, it's Weird Al Yankovic. And he said, Yankovic? Then he whips out all of
the other Yankovic,
his dad, Frankie Yankovic, and starts putting those on. And I'm like, no, this is
not related.
It's ironic polka. It's not.
That was funny. They talked about that in the documentary too. He's like, yeah, somehow my parents thought there needed to be another Yankovic who played the accordion. Thanks, Mom and Dad. He was talking about too, like how his parents were just so overprotective and overbearing that he grew up literally across the street from his school, and his mom would stand in the window with binoculars on and watch him while he was out at recess in a gym. I was like, yeah, I could see how you'd grow up a little repressed and then come out kind of goofy. So pretty funny. I think his last album was big too, right? Like he did that like whole final hurrah where all those streaming platforms got exclusive music videos. Like College Humor had one, and it was like 2000. I don't know. It was probably 8 years ago now, but yeah, I feel like 2015-ish. He had that last. He said it was going to be like his last full length album. He's like, the world's gone to singles. Like, not doing this again, but
sure,
a few hits. And then White and Nerdy before that, of course. So, still pretty relevant. Do you remember, though, the 90s television, the Weird Al Yankovic show?
No.
You never saw that?
I guess
the Bare Naked Ladies were his in-house band.
Really?
Yeah. Wow.
What was that? What was that on? That must
have been
cable.
It was
or
one of the networks.
Right?
Yeah, it was during the Saturday morning block. It only ran for one season. And it was not particularly good. I do remember that, but I watched it still because I was like, it's Weird Al. Like, that's amazing. It was kind of like just a take on UHF almost, really.
Huh.
But yeah, I remember the Bare Naked Ladies would do like the music in between segments. Pretty funny. Especially for a kid's cartoon show to have a band, your house band be Bare Naked Ladies.
Huh.
But
yeah, that's funny.
Speaking of that, since we were talking about Rescue Rangers and all that trivia, or all that nostalgia, I thought we should do a trivia, 90s cartoon trivia.
Ooh, yeah.
And since you're the only available person to ask questions to,
I won already.
You might win this one. And I hate that this is question number 1. All right, you ready for this? 90s cartoon trivia. What was the favorite food of the talking orange cat Garfield? Because the internet is mocking me.
Oh, lasagna.
You might have nailed that one.
I watched a YouTube video today about some like dark ride of like a Garfield. It was like basically like one of those. It's like a love tunnel type ride, but it was Garfield themed.
Okay.
And the guy was like getting emails of stories of what was happening inside there, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, there's a lot of sex and naked stuff going on in the Garfield love tunnel." Right.
That's so disturbing. Could you imagine losing it on a Garfield ride? It's bad. Okay. What was Tommy's surname in the Rugrats?
Pickles, right?
Yep, got it. Okay, which 90s cartoon featured a pet chimpanzee named Darwin?
Ooh.
This one might be a little after our time. It was still popular, though.
Just because it's a monkey, is it like wild thornberries or something like that?
Yep,
Okay.
That's it. What was the show called featuring 2 talking mice that ran for 4 seasons, 66 episodes, and was a spin-off? I'll give it to you here. And was a spin-off from Animaniacs.
Pinky and the Brain.
Yep.
Probably my favorite. That was probably my favorite show of the 90s.
Yeah, I thought that was great because Pinky and the Brain was like one of the highlights of Animaniacs.
Yep.
All right. Who lived with their grandparents at Sunset Arms boarding house?
That Hey Arnold?
Yes, it is Hey Arnold.
I didn't even have Nickelodeon.
This one I got wrong, but maybe you'll get it. Which founded first, Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network?
Probably Nickelodeon.
Yeah, that's what I guessed too, but it is, in fact, Cartoon Network.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. What was the color of Johnny Bravo's t-shirt?
Black.
Nailed it. Who had a dog named Pork Chop?
Oh, Rocco, right?
Nope, that was Spike,
Oh.
I think. So this is Doug. Doug had a dog named Pork Chop.
Sure.
What type of animal? This is a good one. What type of animal was Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life?
Oh crap! What is it called? A marmoset? No?
Wallaby.
A wallaby. Yes.
Yes. What was the relationship of cow and chicken in the cartoon called Cow and Chicken?
A sexual nature, I'm sure. Man, I don't even remember that one.
Yeah, that one was pretty short-lived. They were siblings. I think they were brother and sister of sorts. So that all came out during like the bonkers Cartoon Network, like I Am Baboon and all that sort of just crazy bad shit.
Sure.
Angry Beavers. All right, Huey, Dewey, and Louie are the lead characters of which 90s classic cartoon?
Boy, which one? Because there's DuckTales and then there's Quack Pack.
I never heard of that one.
Yeah, that was a later one. I think that was out like almost at the end of Disney Afternoon.
Final answer?
I'll say DuckTales.
Yeah, you got it. That one's a little misleading, though, because I wouldn't say that they're the lead characters.
No.
I feel like that rotated in that show. Okay, so what's the name of the 90s cartoon that features 3 kindergarten-age girls, Buttercup, Bubbles, and Blossom, who live with their scientist father?
Powerpuff Girl.
You ever get into that?
No.
Yeah, me either.
I didn't really have Cartoon Network at all. Like, for whatever reason, when I was a kid, they would sometimes have Nickelodeon over the air, like for a month. It was really weird.
That is weird.
I don't know if it was like a licensing
dish or what.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like that type of deal or like a licensing deal where they could just, do it for a month, or I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, I never had either in our hometown. It wasn't available. So like Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network is always like that. If we're staying in a hotel, like when I'm not in the pool, all I'm doing is binging this. So
Yep.
Yeah. What is Hank's live-in niece called in the 90s cartoon King of the Hill? Why did they just say what her name is? Like what's she called? What's called niece?
Hillbilly.
Skank.
Yeah. Luann.
Yeah, nailed it. Who owns a very tatty Barbie doll named Cynthia?
Angelica?
Yes, that is correct. Name the cartoon that focuses on the life of a 9-year-old Arnold Shortman.
Well, I suppose Hey Arnold.
Yeah, that one. Why give you the first name?
Yeah.
Terrible question. Trivia games group.
These are a lot of like cable cartoon.
I know. I couldn't find one on Disney Afternoon alone because that would have been ideal.
Or even Saturday morning stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, this is all the Nick and Cartoon Network shit. So this 90s cartoon featuring 4 adolescent boys became infamous for its profanity, dark, surreal humor aimed more towards adults. Is that 90s really? I suppose it was tail end of 90s, right? You know this one. 4 boys, adult. Still on the air. Basketball.
Oh, sure. South Park.
Yep.
Duh.
South Park.
I thought like profanity. I didn't think the most profanity.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The one that really went for it. Right. This one's a stupid one too. Who is SpongeBob SquarePants' best friend?
Ooh, that's tricky. I mean, it could be Gary, but I'll say
that's true.
Patrick.
Was that even a 90s cartoon? Did that start in the 90s or was that 2000?
That's a good question.
I want to say 2000. Can you check this now? Do you have your phone by you? Or you get the computer? Look this up. I think I'm going to call shenanigans on this because I think it was 2000.
May 1st, 1999. Wow.
No. Really? Okay.
13 seasons, 276 episodes.
It's amazing that they're still getting made. And now Patrick has his own show.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. At least on Paramount.
Huh.
All right. So what is the competent purple-haired one-eyed captain of the Planet Express ship in Futurama called? Why don't they just ask the name of these people? That's so stupid.
Competent one-eyed captain.
Yeah, they have her first name here, but you can just go with what they call her on the show.
Leela, right?
Yep, Leela.
Yeah.
They have Turanga Leela, but yeah, she just went by Leela for the most part. So, what's the name of the award-winning American animated horror comedy TV series that was about a kind canine that wasn't very brave?
Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Yep.
That was, I didn't know that had horror elements to it, but.
Really? Did you ever watch that?
I didn't. No, I haven't.
Oh, that show is great. Yeah, basically it's the dog they live like in the Midwest or like middle of nowhere on a farm, and he lives with like an elderly couple. And like the old man's always getting pissed at the dog for making too much noise or doing something. And the lady's always oblivious. And then like shit always hits the fan. Like a succubus will move in to like the house and like try to murder them all. And only the dog is like aware of it. Yeah, you got to watch it. I think it's on some streaming platforms, but that show is awesome. It's super twisted. Like really probably too twisted for most kids to watch.
Wow. Yeah, I would have never guessed that.
Yeah. Well, there are a few more questions there, but they all just keep recycling about the wild thornberries. So I'm just going to cut it off here and declare you the official winner of this round of trivia. Yep. Audience, I hope you kept up and gave. I don't know. Did you miss any? You missed one. I can't remember which one.
Maybe one or two. Yeah.
Yeah. Not that
Biff
hard.
Got 0.
Yeah. Biff lost. Taking the X on that one. Red X. I almost thought we had the podcast back.
Yeah.
This is the new normal, everyone. Two guys who don't play games who have a video game podcast. This is what you all tuned in for. But here I'm going to make a bold statement, though. If for anyone who's still listening, we are going to come back next episode with a buy rent burn because we need one. And after we get done with this episode, we're going to plan that out because I've been hankering for some buy rent and burning.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. We're at 54 minutes. Have we ever done a podcast that was under an hour? Do we have something to fill 6 minutes with?
Ooh, boy.
How about I've been diving down the internet rabbit hole. Are you aware of Necrogoblicon? The metal band that only writes about goblins, and all albums and songs are goblin based.
I have not, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah, so I think you'd dig this. So they started the band as like a joke, and then they made a music video. Somebody offered to do the music video for them, and the music video went viral because they got this guy to be like the goblin, like this actor, and like play as the kind of like an elfish sort of character, like that sort of thing. It went viral and the band blew up, and they kept getting asked to go on like these massive tours, but it was always contingent on the troll or the goblin showing up, or the troll. So then they had to incorporate this non-musician guy who they've now named John Goblicon, who's in like all their music videos for the last like 6 years. And then what's even better is they gave him like a talk show. So they've got this like Right Now with John Goblicon on the, like on their YouTube channel, and he just interviews celebrities and basically just like shits on them. The one with Bobby Lee is freaking hilarious. Like he's just like making so much fun of Bobby Lee. Oh, and the music's fine. Like if you like metal, it's just like generic metal, but then every music video are these like super overproduced like videos starring this goblin that always end in like everything going wrong and people being murdered left and right. So
yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's pretty entertaining. I was watching their newest music video the other day, and I showed my kids. My son thought it was pretty funny. My wife was a little horrified by the end of the video, but it's good stuff. I mean, I wouldn't be caught listening to that on my Spotify playlist, but if you want to go down the internet rabbit hole, there are worse ways to spend like 20 minutes.
But no trolls. Trolls are not allowed.
Yeah.
Just goblins.
Yeah, just goblins. Yeah, it's pretty funny. And like the interviews always just like basically turn into everyone asking like questions to him about like if he's got like anatomy or like where he comes from, and it's pretty funny. You'll have to check it out. The talk show is probably where it's at, like if you're not into the music, but yeah. That was Ryan's Internet Rabbit Hole, Necrogoblicon, everybody. I didn't get us to an hour though. Sorry.
So like, that's like the best format, like talk shows.
Yeah.
That are like ironically, like there's something weird about it outside the box, you know?
Yeah. It was like when they gave Elf his own talk show.
Right.
That was like cool.
Yeah. Space Ghost was like,
yes.
Amazing.
Man, Space Ghost. Brack Show.
Yeah. I mean, even Eric Andre is pretty good for a talk show too.
Yeah, that's true. We need more of that. We need like a satirical talk show again. Because that torch has not been carried. There was like a good run where there was like somebody doing it through most of the early 2000s. But it has gone away. Because the thing is like celebrities are too proud to like be made fun of it. Like, you know, they won't show up to just like be dunked on, because thanks to social media, they're dunked on constantly for everything they do. So there's no reason to like make an appearance and like know that that's going to be over the internet and everyone's going to be laughing at you, because that's just life.
Yeah. Well, they can do the same thing on a podcast now and then sell it to Spotify for millions of dollars. So
you see that deal?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Team Coco, $150 million for like 10. They said it was like the whole network. So it's like 10-ish podcasts in general, which I wasn't even aware of. I knew of Conan's. Mm-hmm. But yeah, to get that, maybe they're just like, we're making so much off Joe Rogan, we got to get this Coco deal. But like, it's perfect for him, because I suppose he's focusing on whatever that HBO show is going to be. Mm-hmm. You know, why not take the paycheck now? Like, not that he wasn't already set for retirement, but like 150 million, everyone involved takes a nice payday. And
yeah, I wonder if like a podcast market has like reached saturation point. Like the amount of people that will listen to podcasts have reached the amount of time that they're going to be played.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of like, I was always the podcast guy, and like, I'll still keep an earbud in at work, but like, I have people in my rotation and podcasts that I would have like always gone to that I just don't get to anymore. Like I'm down to like consistently, I've got 3 podcasts every week that I'm definitely going to listen to. And then sometimes I get to the 4th, but beyond that, very much.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat.
Once Go Nintendo revived itself, that like pretty much kicked out, because Go Nintendo does like 3 hours now. So that pretty much killed 2 of the podcasts I used to listen to. And now that you turn me onto the Firewatch podcast, like I'm even like to the point where I'm not even listening to Nextlander anymore, and I'm still paying their Patreon.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Like Nextlander has been a disappointment to me. Like the energy's not there. Like 3, and then like, you know, they're doing the same thing they used to do on Giant Bomb, where it's like 3 hours, but it just doesn't hold the attention. I find myself like almost never finishing one if I listen to it at all.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way, because I mean, they do a little bit at the front where they just do talk about bullshit, but I don't know if much changes between, like 2 of them have, I don't know. It's definitely a different type of world altogether, you know, podcast now than what it was at Giant Bomb before the pandemic. And, you know.
Yeah. And even Giant Bomb is so like far removed from what that used to be that I just don't listen to it.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that in a long time.
I'm pretty much like, yeah, I think Go Nintendo coming back is like, that's now like back in my favorite video gaming podcast. And then just like Firewatch is so hard to beat just for the nonsense. Like I just listened to the latest episode today, and like there's like a 30-minute discussion about like just stupid stuff, like just farts and like random things that just adults shouldn't talk about, but somehow they do. And
yeah, they don't talk about video games until like an hour and a half into the show sometimes.
Plus, that like revelation too in the latest episode where Dan talks about how like his parents got married, had him, and then his dad moves out into like his buddy's place, and then like he would go see his dad, like Big Dan, and then Big Dan moves in with the mom and starts like, it's so weird. And he's like, yeah, and as a kid, you don't have the perspective to realize how weird that is. Like, yeah, of course you don't. You were like 6.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that he was like, no, everybody got along. They were great. Same bowling league. And like, cool. Explains a lot about Dan, I guess. But
yeah, that's crazy.
I think I had a buddy. I guess I'm still friends with him, but like his grandparents split. One, keep in mind I'm from a small town, but his grandparents split on both sides and then swapped and remarried and we're still together. I mean, I assume until they died, but isn't that bonkers? Like how awkward is that Thanksgiving, right?
Oh, wow. They just pick which side to go to.
Yeah.
The whole family's there.
It's just got to be so uncomfortable for his parents too. Like, oh, this is so weird.
It's like the in-laws of my in-laws. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So then it gives a whole new meaning to mother-in-law, right? Like, I don't know. It's weird.
Oh, yeah. That's
small world.
Yeah.
A lot of horny, lonely people out there. So
yeah,
I get it in a small town setting though.
They took a ride on the Garfield ride and fell in love. What are you going to do?
Hate Mondays. That's what you're going to do. All right. We made it to an hour. Yay. Sorry, everybody, for the last 10 minutes. That's what you're here for, right?
Yeah.
Ramblings of madmen.
Padding. Yes.
I like how we're under no contractual obligation, nor do we get paid to have a set length podcast or reach an hour. But
damn it, we're going to do it.
We're going to do it. We're all about it. 60 minutes or bust.
We have to have a standard.
Yeah. 60 seconds for intercourse, 60 minutes for a podcast. That's how life works. Well, and you're stuck taking us out, so.
Yeah, all right. So if you want to contact us, maybe you know where to find us, maybe not. That's weekendrentalpodcast@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me the stories of some romantic encounters that you had on any type of amusement park ride. I'd love to hear it. We might not keep it anonymous, so, but
yeah,
you should be proud of it either way.
Use a code name.
Yep. You can find us on Facebook.
Yeah, Twitter. I mean, you can. I don't update it, but
yeah,
it's there.
We're on Twitter.
Twitter we are.
Yeah.
We tweet.
But that's pretty much all we got. And till next time, be kind, rewind. And fuck Friday, or Mondays, not Fridays. I love Fridays.
Friday's the best. How dare you fuck him? John Goblicon would be upset with you.